All right, home miners, where are my GPU miners at from back in the day that used to build the all white GPU rigs? Have you guys seen the brand new NerdQAxe++ limited edition white model? This thing is insane. All right, so let's get our new NerdQAxe++ opened up. This is actually part of my favorite part of the unboxings here and setup and review videos is actually that first look. And this is actually like definitely different. It's like a felt. The packaging, I wonder like above and beyond on this. Now, this is supposed to be they call it like the Snowbird limited edition. So I think that's maybe why they got this, like, I'm gonna angle it this way, this kind of fancy felt to it. But let's unbox this here because this looks pretty sweet. So let's pull this out. Dude, this is awesome. I think I might have to run this in my office versus putting it out in the shed. Guys, look at this. Oh my word. Where are my like GPU white build only elitist out there? Because this is pretty sweet looking. Let me angle down the camera just a tiny bit here. All right, so look at this. So everything is white. Even the 3D printed stand on this thing is white, which is absolutely wild. The fan is white. The heat sink is even white. Look at that. Even the heat pipes in here are entirely white as well. Our fan cable is white. This is nuts. I mean, all right, if you are like a big fan of these small home Bitcoin solo miners, like this is right up your alley. Absolutely. I'm actually really excited for this. This is really cool. I think I might put it like over here. As long as I got to make sure we'll plug it in and take a look to make sure the fan isn't too loud. But this will be perfect. This is like a perfect, talking piece or something to put on the shelf over here, which will be really nice. So NerdQAxe++, we have this nice size screen up here. This comes in at stock with the stock tune at 5 terahash at about 80 watts. We're going to test that out today and then see what options we have for overclocking, because us as home miners, we always like to push things much farther. Taking a look on the back side, even the board is white, which is absolutely nuts. But other than that, this is actually one of the higher quality 3D printed stands. There's a lot of like cheap, really flimsy ones out there. This one's actually pretty dang decent. Oh, if you're interested in the fan here, Thermal Right, very common, well-known cooling fan in the industry. And the heatsink is interesting. So I don't think the heatsink here was actually originally white. I think it was powder coated is what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody in chat might know. Even the bracket in here, I don't know if you guys can see that. The bracket in here for the actual ASIC chip is white, but just the coating on even the heat pipes, it just looks powder coated. Maybe somebody will definitely know. All right, let's put this off to the side here. What else we have in here? Oh man. All right, pull this out. We do have our power cable. It's 110 to 240, so you're covered there for depending on what type of outlet you're plugging into. 3 amps max. Your output is up to 10 amps. To give you an idea, we do have that traditional barrel plug that we'll be using to plug in on the side. And then we also have our just traditional C13 to NEMA 515 cable as well. All right, let's get this plugged in. All right, so we have our setup here, watt meter, power cable, and our NerdQAxe++, our limited edition snowblind. I like that name. It's pretty slick naming convention there. So if you guys are not familiar, this is not mining yet. It's not doing anything yet. It's kind of in that kind of idle state. So on the screen here for the NerdQAxe++, it actually gives you an SSID there. You'll actually connect that with your cell phone. And then after you get that connected with your cell phone, you'll actually go to the website 192.168.4.1. That's going to bring up the web interface. We'll put in our wireless SSID information for my home internet, and that'll get us up and running. And then we can visit it over on the computer. So let me do that now. All right, so huge shout out once again to the team over at Bitcoin Merch for sending us this limited edition white NerdQAxe++. So if you guys are interested, go over to their website. I'll leave a link directly down below. They have all different types of these miners at all different price points. I think starting as low as like $25. So here is the Bitcoin Merch NerdQAxe++ 5 terahash, and this is their Snowbird limited edition miner, which is actually pretty slick. Advertised for 5 terahash at 80 watts. We're going to test that out for today's video. So if you guys are coming into this and you're like, okay, cool, this is a 449 miner, and I actually have a discount code, it'll save you guys a few bucks, we'll talk about it at the end. And you're like, okay, how much Bitcoin do I earn per day? This is not the miner for you, to be honest with you. And you might be like, well, it's right in my price point, right under $500. Solo Bitcoin miners are for purely playing that Bitcoin lottery. And if you're like, I don't understand, how does that work? Well, Bitcoin lottery is very simple, very easy. Every 10 minutes, there's a Bitcoin block that is hit. You run these solo Bitcoin miners in hopes of hitting that Bitcoin block worth almost $300,000. The nice thing is, think of this like a lottery ticket. You buy it once and you don't have to rebuy it every 10 minutes like you would a lottery ticket. It just runs and runs and runs. So you're kind of playing that long-term game of hopefully hitting a Bitcoin block. And why I say that is, if we go over to what to mine, we look at Bitcoin, we look at 5 terahash, and we also look at 80 watts, which is what it's advertised for. And let's say you're at 15 cents electric rate. You know, this is only earning you 19 cents a day, but it costs you 29 cents a day to run. That 80 watts of electric is going to cost you 29 cents in electric every day. So you're actually making a negative 10 cents a day. So having a mindset of like, how much is it going to earn? I want to solo mine Bitcoin with this, or I want to pool mine Bitcoin with this every single day. It's just not the avenue to go. Guys, this is not a shortcut to paying big bucks for a full-size ASIC miner that's going to bring you in significant Bitcoin per day. That is not this avenue. This will not get you there any faster. Now, talking about solo mining, there's a great website, sololuck.com. We can come in here and type in 5 terahash. And let's be real. Let's be honest here and transparent. This miner is like playing the lottery. The amount of hash rate you have increases your chances of actually hitting that lottery. So here, this miner, let's say you run this right now for 365 days. You have a 1 in 4,080 chance of hitting that Bitcoin block worth, as of today, is worth $284,259 USD. So, want to be real. You most likely will not hit a Bitcoin block, but there is that chance. And that's what makes home solo Bitcoin mining so much fun. And to add to all that fun, I actually set up my own home Bitcoin node. You guys can do this with any old computer sitting around if you're interested. I actually have a full video guide that will walk you through how to do it. I'll link it directly down below. It's a lot of fun, and you mine directly to your own node, which there is something to be said for that low latency, as well as if you're solo mining to a pool, an outside external pool, you actually have to provide a % of that Bitcoin block if you hit a Bitcoin block back to that pool, versus running your own node. You don't have to do that. So here is my Bitcoin node running. We're currently running Core. I'm actually syncing up with another node that I built with actually running Knots over there. And we're probably going to swap over to Knots. Depends on where your thoughts are on Core versus Knots. But when you do install the node, you actually install a pool. And the one I'm currently running right now is public pool. And the nice thing is look, here's that interface that you would want to see. It gives you your stratum to put in. So the full server, and then you put in your Bitcoin address, your worker name, and off you go. And actually, you know, taking a look here, I got my NerdQAxe++ up and mining just a few minutes ago. The uptime is very little. Let's look here, 7 minutes of uptime. And we're already at 4.8 terahash, and we should be easily hitting that 5 terahash very, very soon. Now, there are updates coming out all the time for the BitAxe firmware. What is it? BitAxe OS, and it's nuts that it's like every other week I feel like there's a new update, which is great. It's awesome that this is open source, and we're seeing these come out all the time. Now, when we look at like mining to my own pool, currently right now, this is my dashboard for my own pool that I have here. For my address that I have here, I have, I don't know, 10, 15, 10, 12, 13 miners maybe on here. And we're just shy. Like, look at this. This is over like the last 2 hours. But man, we're sitting right around 35, dipping down to 30 terahash. I love to boost this up to about 40 terahash. That's kind of my goal here. I'd actually love to, I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to get to that 100 terahash marker, which I think would be absolutely awesome to see and get to that point. So let me show you here over on the NerdQAxe how I have everything set up. All right, so under settings, it's actually really easy to mine to your own node. So here's the IP address of my current node. If we go back to public pool, look, it gives it to you right there. 192.168.86.180 for me. Jumping back over the port, it's asking for 218, which it provides that right up top, right here. And then finally, this is normal. Your Bitcoin address dot, then the worker name. And I called mine NerdQAxe White. And now down here, we talked about overclocking. You do have the ability to do that. And it's always a lot of fun to do that. And you can absolutely push these significantly farther in the amount of hash rate that it's doing. Believe it or not, most of the time, it comes down to two factors that will limit you with overclocking. One is temperature, just the chip getting too hot. And that normally occurs as you put more voltage into it. And the second one is your power supply is a massive limiting factor. A lot of people actually buy larger power supplies because the 120 watt that it traditionally comes with just isn't enough. So some people will buy a 200 watt power supply and they'll push these and push them a little bit further. We actually took one of these and fully put it in immersion and overclocked it. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link down to that video directly down below. So back over to my pool here, I'm going to go ahead and refresh and let's see, here it is. It's coming in. It's slowly getting there. Pool side coming in at 4.1, which is great. And it looks like, what else do we have on here? The Wildcatter is not registered right now. That's not good. I might have to reboot that one. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, all over the place. But then when I come down, here is my magic miners. The BG01 and BG02s are in here. We have some BitAxes in here. The BMMs are in here. So we have a number of different miners in here that make this up. All right, so we've been up and mining for about 15 minutes now, and taking a look at our screen here, you guys can see we're about 4.8 terahash, a little shy of that 5 terahash. We might have to bump the clocks a little bit to get a little bit more out of it to get us up to that 5 terahash there. Oh, look at that. We actually left this on. Let's pull this off. We can't have that on there. Give you guys the pleasure. Nice thing is about these, it shows all your stats over there on the right-hand side. It also shows the temperature of the chip there, 55C, and your IP address is actually right there at the very, very top if you need to go ahead and find that. Now, taking a look over here, advertised was 80 watts. We're coming in at 86.2, and we're on 120. 240 might give us a little bit better performance. So we're a little bit higher than that advertised 80 watts, but 86 still isn't that bad at all. All right, so let's talk about it. So the price tag up here, $4.49. It's a little bit high. I think they're probably running a sale, something like that today, probably for the fact of I'm releasing this on Cyber Monday, recording this on Saturday, actually the 29th of November. So traditionally was $4.99, coming in at $4.49. I think you're really paying a little bit extra for that kind of white snowbird limited edition look, which I get it. We do this stuff all the time. Look at us. Look at us. I don't know if any of you guys have been around since the GPU days and spending extra money. I mean, how much extra did you spend for white only GPUs, which is absolutely crazy. So if I select that unit there and I do start mining now, it should go ahead and add this to our cart. Yep. So let's go ahead and check out here on their site. So it comes in at $4.99 there. And now let me go ahead. If you enter the discount code, the Hobbyist Miner, and hit apply, it's going to go ahead and save you guys about $20. I was actually looking back there at our prices. The $4.49 was actually for the orange one, and the other color one, the limited edition one, is $4.99. So a little bit more expensive. Now, this is totally for that person that is like, dude, I love the NerdQAxe++. I have several of them, but I want that limited edition one. This is for you, 100%. So our discount code, the Hobbyist Miner, does save you about $20. So all said and done, you come in at about $480 for the NerdQAxe++ White Snowblind Limited Edition Solo Bitcoin Miner. All right, love to hear from you guys. Where are you guys at from your hash rate? As I said, I'm right around that 40 terahash now that I get this online, and I got to reboot that Wildcatter, but love to hear from you guys. What's your hash rate look like solo mining Bitcoin? Have you started at all solo mining Bitcoin? Maybe you're at 0. Maybe you're like blowing past me, maybe 100 or 200 terahash. Would love to hear from you guys just to know where my community is at and how much hash rate you actually have. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts on this NerdQAxe++ as well as your hash rate. All right, guys, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.